I'm Jack Statesman. I'm going to do something unusual. On behalf of my fellow Republicans, I'm going to admit that many of the statements we've been making about the recent hurricanes have been, I don't want to say lies, let us just say further from the truth than the public deserve. I'm going to tell you what those are, I'm going to tell you why it happened, and I'm going to tell you who's to blame. But first, if you are currently in one of the affected areas and you need federal help, please call FEMA on 1-800-621-3362. There is help available, there are resources, and there is money. The untruths that have been circulating have probably meant that some people who need help haven't called for it because they believe the funds weren't there. And the untruths about the federal response would have sapped hope from people at a time when hope can make the difference between life and death. You see, for the last week, Republicans, including our leader, Donald Trump, have been saying there's a cap on money available of $750, and that the federal funds had run dry because sleepy Joe Biden had spent all the money on housing illegal migrants. It turns out these statements are not the case. Who knew, but when Congress allocate funding to different departments, the president cannot take money from one area and spend it in another. He could no more fund the housing of illegal migrants from FEMA emergency disaster funds than he could spend House Republican wages on building schools. Also, the $750 is what's available as an emergency fast response for families. There is further money available afterwards should more help be needed. And if you are in an affected area, rest assured that FEMA have been there on the ground since before the hurricane struck. Help is on hand. And Republican governors have confirmed they have spoken with the president and that they have the resources that they need. Even Kamala Harris has visited the states before Donald Trump said that she had not done so. So, what happened? Well, the radical left-wing media have suggested that Republicans have deliberately been lying in order to make the administration look bad in the hopes of securing more votes for themselves. Clearly, this is ridiculous. No, I believe it's far more likely that while Democrats were telling the public the truth, they were privately telling Republicans lies, knowing that these lies would be passed on. And while in the short term this would make the Democrats look bad, in the long term, when the truth comes out, it would make the Republicans look like they were terrible, awful politicians who were happy to let people suffer and die in order to secure a return to power. When in fact it is the Republicans who have been set up, probably by Democrats. I have no proof whatsoever to support this theory, but it seems more likely than the idea that Donald Trump and the Republicans would allow people's pain and suffering simply to secure more votes for themselves. I'm Jack Statesman, and I'm running as your Republican candidate. And if you are in one of the affected areas, my heart goes out to you, really. Because Republicans care, even when all the evidence suggests otherwise.